Want a great elementary school and a house priced under $750,000 in northern Palm Beach County? It's a bit tricky to find. So you may be familiar with the northern Palm Beach County area, or you may be thinking of relocating to northern Palm Beach County. You're terrified of just making a mistake that's going to affect your children and your spouse and the rest of your life. Look, there's not enough hours in a day. You're tired, you're exhausted. You need the right elementary school. Look, I've been there. I've been through all of this. I understand you because I am you, literally. All right, so where do you even start? Well, today I'm going to take you through the exact same exercise that my wife and I went through. A little bit of history. We had been in Fort Lauderdale for the greater part of a decade. We knew we wanted to move to northern Palm Beach County specifically for the quality of life in the school system. Our daughter was in private school in Fort Lauderdale. We were transitioning from private into public. Look, we had a million things that were terrifying to us that were going on. And I literally walked through this same exercise. The same exercise I'm going to walk through with you today, we did this. So if you're in this position, I would absolutely love to help you out because I walked it and I get it. And this is one of the nice things about working in real estate for me, is that sometimes I can take a breath and actually work with people who are trying to make a decision that I know is going to impact them for a large portion of their life. And I don't take that lightly. And I know how important this is. And I can tell you how we arrived at our decision. So let's sit down and get into some of the data. All right, first things first, when I talk about northern Palm Beach County, I want to kind of call out the towns and show you on a map what I mean. So in general, here's Southern Boulevard. If you want to make it broad, I say north of Southern Boulevard, including Wellington. That's the area that I'm going to reference today. So we're talking about Tequesta, Jupiter Farms, Juno Beach, Palm Beach Gardens, North Palm Beach, Riviera Beach, Palm Beach Central itself, Royal Palm Beach, the Acreage, Loxahatchee, Westlake, and Wellington. So that's kind of the map area that we'll be looking at today. Okay, so when I talk about the best elementary schools, this isn't my opinion of the rating, to be perfectly clear. This is the opinion of greatschools.org, not of Casey Prindle. There's other websites where you can find school ratings as well. The county has its list of ratings. Niche.com has its list. We just used Great Schools, and like I told you, I'm going to take you through the same exercise we went through. So that's what we're going to do here. A couple of notes. The first thing is, when you take away the filters, and the filters that I put on were public elementary with a rating of 8 or above, it takes it from 91 schools down to 17. So there are a whole lot more elementary schools within this boundary. Like I said, we just chose to narrow our search in this way. You may want to do it differently, but this is how we did it. All right, so the first one on this list is Jupiter Farms Elementary. We live in Jupiter Farms. My daughter goes to Jupiter Farms Elementary. I know a lot about it. Look, even if you're just considering moving to the farms, whether I'm the realtor you're using or not, just parent to parent, if you want to call and have a talk about what it's like to send your kid to Jupiter Farms Elementary, I'm more than happy to talk to you about it. Our experience has been overwhelmingly positive, to give you the Cliff Notes version there. But that happens to be the school that I'll know the most about. All right, for the rest of this segment of the video, I'm going to switch over from the map view that was there over to this kind of ratings view, just because I think for us anyways, a couple of things that we were looking at was we wanted to know how many kids were in the school, how many, what the student to teacher ratios look like, because again, we had come from private, so there were more teachers per student, and it was just kind of a concern of ours. May not be for you, but it was something we looked at. Okay, So next up on our list is going to be Timber Trace Elementary. If you look at the boundary zone of this elementary school, it's kind of be the southern side of Palm Beach Gardens, if you will. That's the best way I think to describe it. Next up, Binks Forest Elementary. Honestly, we looked at this area really heavily. This is the western side of Wellington. This is kind of one of our final runners, anyways. But if you're looking at this school, the geography, you're going to be more on the west side of Wellington. That would be kind of the easiest Cliff Note version there. Beacon Cove. So this one's a little bit tricky. You'll see here the grades are 3 to 5. It's in Jupiter. Your kids would start out at Lighthouse and then move to Beacon Cove. Lighthouse doesn't have a rating, which is why it doesn't appear on here. But that's where they would go for pre-K 1 and 2, and then transition 3, 4, and 5 into Beacon. So if you're in Jupiter and you're more on the east side of Jupiter, this will be where you're likely zoned for. Okay, Pierce Hammock in Loxahatchee. This is going to be the northern section of Loxahatchee anyways. This is another school we looked at pretty heavily. Another area that we were interested in a lot. But anyways, it's gonna if you kind of looked at Loxahatchee, it takes up kind of a smaller sliver of what would be, I guess, your top right quadrant of Loxahatchee. All right, let's move on from Pierce Hammock. Next, we're going to get to Elbridge Gale. Note here that the enrollment's pretty high. The student-to-teacher ratio is pretty good, though. So, just a couple of notes there. Marsh Point, again, kind of a larger school. Palm Beach Gardens Elementary, Conservatory School. This one, there are a few asterisks here. The first one is this. The other schools that we've gone through to this point go K to 5. This one goes K to 9. So it's some older kids mixed in where most of these other kids have transitioned out to a middle school. This one has a different thing to it. A couple of notes on it also. So the geographic boundary for this school is huge. It goes from all the way up in Juno Beach down through Lake Park and into North Palm Beach. So it's just a really large area of kids that get souped together to go into this school. Palm Beach Public School. All right. So remember, we're going to be limited by $750,000 property search, and you can't really even buy a lawn chair in Palm Beach for $750,000. So even though it's on this list, it's not going to be applicable to us. All right, Meadow Park Elementary, that's going to be the eastern side of West Palm Beach. Cypress Trails in Royal Palm Beach. Golden Grove shows up as West Palm Beach, but if memory serves me, this is in the center of the acreage. Frontier Elementary in Loxahatchee. Royal Palm Beach, right there on Okeechobee Boulevard in Royal Palm Beach. And we're going to skip Palm City because that is north of Jupiter up in Martin County. And today we are just doing Palm Beach County. All right, so here we go. We are back at our map view. Take another look over this whole thing here. So the next thing that we have to do, I talked in the beginning about this, about you're spending $750,000 or less. So what does that look like? The first thing is I'm not going to go over condos. I really haven't dealt with any people who have kids or are looking to expand a family that are excited about purchasing a condo. It just doesn't usually come up in the conversation. What does come up are townhomes and single-family homes. Now, again, this sort of gets a little bit tricky. If we remove that $750,000, you have a lot more options in housing in the same school zones that we're talking about. Take Jupiter Farms, for example. There's only going to be a handful of homes that are listed at $750,000 or below. But then once you get into that million plus range, the options open up. It's going to be the same in a number of areas throughout here. So just know that, again, we're limiting our budget. If your budget's above $750,000, call me because the search is going to look a little bit different. But I'm just trying to, I wanted to throw a number out there that wasn't totally wild. because you can spend totally wild amounts of money here in Northern Palm Beach County. So that is our backdrop. Let's go ahead and switch over to the MLS and see what kind of properties and how many properties we would have available. Okay, so I've gone ahead and preloaded all of the criteria for single-family homes within those school boundaries that we just went through in those towns that I mentioned at the top of this video, that Wellington plus Southern Boulevard and North. So preloading those alone, if we didn't have any kind of pricing constraints, there would be 648 homes available for sale. Pretty cool. Let's put in our 750,000 or less. We go down to 177 homes that are for sale. I'll give you a map view so you can see where they're clustered. I don't want to click to open any of these because when I do, it opens up the owner's name and everything. So I can just kind of walk through this a little bit manually with you. So here's the first part of our search. I don't know if this will come into your search, but we wanted to have an acre of land or more because we'd come from a relatively confined space. So we narrowed our search down to parts of Wellington, Loxahatchee, and Jupiter Farms, because that's where you find some larger acreage properties. You're going to find new construction here by Westlake. You're going to find older wood frame construction possibly at this price range, especially in the farms. As you move east, you're going to find smaller lots of land with varying years of construction depending on what areas we're looking in. And the same with Wellington. As you get further east, you get less land. But look, as I said, so you can see how small this gets. If you found a specific school that you really wanted, and then we pulled the zoning, the attendance boundary for that school, you can see how small this 177 number is to get. So this is to say, a lot of you that have read the papers and think that we're in a crazy buyer's market, which is debatable at best, but you're going to find out that your playing field is a lot smaller than you think it is. Let's run this same exercise, but now let's switch over to townhomes. Okay, so we input the same criteria. We begin down here in the corner with 151 matches. Let's go to 750 and below. We have 126 properties that we can look at. Want to look at it on a map? Once again, you can see kind of especially Abacoa. This tends to be this area right here, honestly, between Palm Beach Gardens and Abacoa for townhomes. It's real popular, to be honest with you. So that's kind of our broad overview. Let me give you guys a couple of final thoughts and wrap this up. Look, I understand and am incredibly sympathetic to how emotional and difficult and overwhelming, frankly, this whole thing can be. Especially when you're throwing in not only purchasing a home, but leveraging, your future, your family's future, your kids' future. It's an enormously weighty decision. And I don't take that lightly at all. And you certainly shouldn't work with somebody that doesn't understand the gravity of the situation. Look, whether you end up buying with me or not, but you just want to have frank conversations about real estate and Northern Palm Beach area, and if you're thinking of moving here and all that kind of good stuff, I'm more than happy to just talk with you. I mean, kind of what I do all day is talk to people. So don't be shy to reach out. Easiest way to find me, call me 786-443-7203. That's my cell phone. Also, in the description below, you're going to find a link to a contact form on my website. You can just go there and fill something out, and I'm more than happy to respond to you. But please, no matter what, if you need a resource, don't be shy. Thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate it. And look, I hope I helped you out in some way, shape, or form. I'll talk to you soon.